All right, what's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Living the Dream podcast. Today on the show, we have Phil Barth, who is a stress-reducing author and keynote speaker. Phil, how you doing today?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I am fantastic. Thanks so much for asking, and we like to
Awesome.
jump right in. So if you could start with
Yep.
telling us a little bit more about yourself and what you like to do for fun.
Okay. So about myself is by day, I still have my day job of being an IT professional. And the side gig, the side hustle, if you will, is I wrote a book and do keynote speaking on stress management as well as goal achievement. So one of my keynotes is on frying your chickens, the chickens that are inside of you. And I have used rubber chickens and we have all kinds of fun with that. What I do for fun is my wife and I like to travel, and sometimes with our son. Sometimes it works out that I can do both. So I recently had a keynote in Washington D.C. and a couple of my sons and my wife and I we took off and got to tour the Capitol for a while, and then I went and did the keynote. So it's nice when you can balance get the recreation and the job done all at once.
Yeah, absolutely. And tell us a bit more about your motivation. What gets you up, gets you going every day? Why'd you write the book? Why the keynote speeches?
So the book sprang from I had a heart attack in 2015. And as part of the recovery, they said, you need to manage your stress better. And I didn't think much about it. I thought they were going to tell me, don't eat so much fatty foods or whatever. But they said, manage your stress better. So I started looking at why I was stressing out. And the next thing I did was I did this thing on Facebook where I put, hey, this was the great thing that happened today. These were the great things that happened. I just started doing it and I got a bunch of likes. And if you get a bunch of likes on Facebook, you have to keep going because everybody liked what you posted, right? So I kept doing that. And this started in 2016 and I still do it 7 years later. Just it's a way of finding out, finding what's good in your life. And what happened was the more you look for what's good in your life, the more it presents itself. You
Yep.
you find great things and then they just you've trained your brain to look for this, you find it. And I do it because I'm motivated to help other people avoid the heart attack, avoid that 50 something wake up call that some of us get. I'm motivated to do it because I think the world needs that kind of thinking. A lot of times in Facebook, we see people fighting over the silliest things when it gets right down to it, and they like to argue. And so I think the world needs more positivity and more just, hey, look, we live in a great time in a great country. Are things perfect? Of course not. But there are a lot of good things going on, and let's all appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. I like it. So heart attack in 2015 spurred you not to directly write the book, but what you did was you had to manage your stress. And so you learned about this
Right.
and started that gratitude journal. You're still doing it to this day because the world needs this type of thinking. And ultimately, all of this led to the book, which is called.
Exactly. Yep. I forgot to mention that. Yeah. Ultimately, what I put on social media became the basis for the book in 2019, I believe.
And what's the title of the book?
Great things happen every day.
Hmm,
Finding joy in friends, family, and banana milkshakes.
there we go. I love it. Let's jump into your dreams and goals, man. Tell us about your vision
Okay.
for your
All
career,
right.
life, the book.
Yeah. So I saw this. You gave me the list of questions beforehand, and I was like, I actually have a bucket list spreadsheet. This is like the ultimate nerd thing, right? Here are 50 or more items that I have on my bucket list, and there's travel things, and it's two columns, right? Here's the thing, and here's one we checked it off. It's not just a list; it's an active list. So one of our bucket list items was we were going to go to Europe, and in what is this year 2023 2022 we went to Europe. We went to England and Scotland and Ireland, took a family trip. So check that off because I like to travel. I like to travel in the country as well. There's so many things in the US that I have not yet seen, and we've got those on our bucket list too. But travel to enjoy the world, it's more, at least in my list, around experiences as opposed to things.
Mm,
So, let's get out there and see parts of the world. And it was so cool to go to the British Isles and see how people there are different and the same, right? They have different cultures and different ways of looking at things, but people are people. and we were able to hit it off with people and make some connections. So a lot of what I've got is around that. The other thing I have is around growing the business and retiring from the IT job and growing the business into a full-time keynote speaking and book writing business.
Okay. Okay. So full-time keynote speaker and author, and then traveling around the world and checking off the bucket list.
You got it.
And do you plan on writing more books, or do you want this to be
Yes.
the only book?
Yeah, at least one. The funny thing is people say I use Chat GPT to write a book in a day. I'm like, okay, that's not really you writing it, but
Yeah.
but then I also say, okay, it's taking you a long time to write it, Phil. So come on. The next one is around the overcoming those inner fears, negativity, self-doubt, and it's going to be called Fry Your Chickens.
Okay. I gotcha. And so grow the business into a full-time keynote speaker. What does that entail? Like, do you want to get 50K a keynote and do 2 a year? Do you want to get 10K a keynote and do 10 a year? What's the
I'd like to get 50K and do 10 a year. it's it's growing, getting an audience that knows who you are. It's writing books so that they can say, oh, okay, I've seen your book and I know you're a keynote speaker, so I would like to bring you in. 50K, you about have to have won a marathon or something like that, or been on a TV show or something really, really big, climb Mount Everest. None of those things apply to me. And so it's growing that. And, if I wind up hitting it out of the park with my next book, who knows? But it's less, I've set less goals about the money and more around the number of people I'm going to help.
Okay.
Because if you help a lot of people achieve their goals, I think it's Zig Ziglar said, you can have anything you want if you help enough other people get what they want. So if I'm helping enough other people and speaking enough and using my book to help other people, that's going to follow. So I focus it that way.
Okay. So what's the people impact number?
Right now it's 1 million.
Okay.
So, and the way it started was I want to get a message in the hands of 10,000 people. And when I get there, I'm going to add another zero, say a prayer of thanks and move on. So we've gone over 100,000 in terms of, video views, messages, etc., as well as people in attendance. You kind of add that all up. I don't have an exact number, but it's like, all right, we're over 100,000. Let's get to 1 million.
Okay.
And as long as I can keep going and adding zeros to it, that's what we're going to do.
There we go. Impact 1 million people. So we
Yes.
got travel around the world and check off the bucket list, grow the business into a full-time keynote speaker and author, and then impact 1 million people. Is there anything else you want to add to this list?
Good night. When you put it that way, I've got my work cut out for me, don't I? No, that's plenty.
Hey,
And
I like it.
yeah, you can also, if I do it right, I could impact people overseas to a bucket list place and go over there and speak and then visit that country off the bucket list as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, cool, man. What are the top 1 to 2 skills that you need to develop right now to make your dreams and goals come true?
Probably more focus and more delegation. Okay, so they go hand in hand. Because if you want to say yes to the really important stuff, you got to say no to a lot of other stuff. Or instead of saying no, maybe say not me. And this is just like the perfect time for me to be talking about this, because today I spent way too much time trying to design a logo for my business.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went on Fiverr and just for a few bucks, somebody's going to design the logo for me. And I could do this and I could do that. And I played around with a bunch of different things. I'm not a graphic designer and I don't know why, but I let that distract from my focus of the basic blocking and tackling around what is my message, practicing the delivery. You can be the best baseball player in the world, but you still got to take batting practice, right?
Yep.
And I'm not the best speaker in the world someday, but you got to practice the basic skills. And so if I'm focused on that, focused on writing, focused on speaking and what I do well, then it's like delegate the rest. That's why Fiverr is there, for example, right? And this is not the first time I've struggled with this. I spent I don't know how long thinking I could design my own website. I can't. I couldn't. It looked terrible. And so I wrote a small check to somebody who designed the website and it looks great. So I need to keep reminding myself to stay in my lane and outsource the rest of it.
I gotcha. Yeah, focus and delegation. They really do go hand in hand and they're key. Like, I don't know if you've read that book, The One Thing by Gary Keller.
I think I've got it on the shelf. I don't think I've gotten to it yet.
Oh, it's such a good book. And honestly, you can read it, you could not read it. I can tell you kind of what it's going to tell you right now. But reading it, so you can get an idea in a sentence, and that may be the one sentence that whole book is about, but it spends 200 pages cementing that idea into your head. And so through the stories and the social proof and the logic, it like sells you on that idea really well. So I'm gonna tell you the idea, but I still think you should read the book. And that goes to everybody listening too. Basically, he's like, figure out what one thing is going to move the needle forward the most in your business for your goals or in your life for your goals, and spend 4 hours on that one thing. And then you've had a successful day. You'll see your business take leaps and bounds forward because you spent 4 hours on that one thing that's going to move it the most.
That's really good.
Yeah. And so it's like just time block 4 hours. And it's like, for a lot of people who are starting businesses, it's like, it's probably going to be some sort of lead generation. You spend 4 hours, you're either doing cold calls, you're writing copy, you're figuring out how to market better, you are engaging on social media, you are creating content for 4 hours a day, whatever it may be, 4 hours a day on that lead generation, on that marketing. Or for those people who have the lead flow, it's like, I need 4 hours a day on sales calls where I'm closing. And for those people who are closing, it's like, I need 4 hours a day on hiring because now I need to delegate. And then I need 4 hours a day on systems and processes, whatever it may be. So, yeah, man, that's a good book.
That is really good.
Yeah. Yeah, I really like that idea. And so when you said more focus, it just made me think of that, of like, I think the extent to which the top 1% of society are focused on those needle moving activities is like just leaps and bounds away from where most of us are focused. And so
that's really good. And it's like I said before, I got to delegate all the rest of the stuff.
Yep.
It's like, I can't say, well, I need to do 4 hours on material generation, and so therefore I'm not going to do anything around the taxes I'm going to owe. However, I can say, if I outsource this to an accountant who knows how to do this stuff anyway, then I've got the time. Yep. And I've got my time back. That's really good.
Or just don't pay the government. No, I'm just kidding. No. You didn't hear me say that. No.
Edit that post after we get done.
Awesome. Well, Phil, tell me about the highest impact daily actions that are going to tick the needle forward towards your dreams and goals. Speaking of the one thing,
it's writing for my goal. So I've got a decent number of business. Writing is first, right? I've got a decent book of business right now for where I'm at. Is this being a side gig? What I need to do, it's not writing. I'm wrong. It's rewriting. I've written the presentations. It's rewriting, making them better, funnier, more poignant, etc., to drive the points home. It's that. It's making the jokes funnier, like I said, getting rid of every word that does not move the message forward, and replacing it with ones that do. It's that level of dedication. And I do it. I don't do it 4 hours a day. I will now. Yeah. But that's what it is. It's honing that message to just be even more effective.
I gotcha. And what character trait do you most need to develop right now to make your dream life come true?
So yeah, when you asked me that, I had discipline, but I had another one too. Well, focus is discipline. It's those two. It's focus and discipline. It's not seeing something shiny go past on email. Right. I put a lot of posts out on Facebook because I want to put positivity out there. But oh my gosh, is it like the shiny squirrel that could distract you if you let it?
Mm.
and then here's something funny that I got to share with a friend, et cetera, et cetera. So it's ignoring that to the extent possible, and it's focused, and that all takes discipline.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. Social media, it will just rob your attention. And it's so designed to do it.
Oh yeah.
Like it is really good at it.
Yeah, I've that's in my stress management keynote. I asked people, do you think Facebook and other social media sites are designed to be a positive experience or negative experience? And it's a trick question. They don't care. Whatever will keep your eyeballs on them is what they want.
Yep.
And if they see that you're slowing down to read arguments, they're going to give you more arguments.
Hmm.
And so it's that, yeah, the more they have you hooked, the more you're going to look at their ads, and that's how they make money. I get it,
Yep.
and I got to stop falling for it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, for sure. For sure. And it really is, it's crazy to think about how much attention has been become the commodity, basically.
Yeah, the last numbers I had were from 2019. This is pre-pandemic, and the average person spent 2 hours and 24 minutes on what they classified as social media sites per day. Now that can include YouTube, that can include Facebook, Twitter, you name it. So it's a little skewed in that if I need a video on how to change an oil filter in my car, I go to YouTube, and I don't really consider that social media. I consider that basic survival.
Yeah.
Unless I delegate that to a mechanic, which I should. So we're back to that, right? But yeah, 2 hours and 24 minutes, and everybody wants their piece of the pie. And I don't know where we are today, but I'm going to guess it's higher. I know during the pandemic it had to be higher. People
Yeah.
were just getting hooked on that, and it's dangerous to get hooked. But at the same time, I don't want to give up social media because I have a niece that lives in Florida, and I want to see pictures of her and her two young kids, and so that's the good side of
Yeah.
Facebook. I can connect with people who I wouldn't see only maybe a couple times a year otherwise.
Hmm. No, for sure. For sure. And it is a great business tool given that so many people's attention is there.
Right,
Fantastic.
right. You can catch it.
Yeah. Well, cool, man. If there were one or two people you could meet right now, and this could be a specific person or a type of person, and they'd really help you take that next step towards your dreams and goals, who would they be and how would they help you?
I think Tony Robbins was the first one that pops into mind. I mean,
Yeah.
he is the I don't know. I saw a ranking and he wasn't rated number one for motivational speakers in the world. And I'm like, well, you probably need to look at your list again. He was two or three, but he motivates people, right? He gets people going. I've watched his videos. You even watch his video, you're like, dang, I'm on fire now.
Yeah.
So he was the first one that popped into mind, or somebody like him. So if I want to be a better motivational speaker, it's Tony Robbins would be the first one. I'd like to find somebody between me and Tony Robbins down about here to tell me how to get to here first.
Uh-huh. Okay.
If I want to be a major league baseball player and I'm in high school, I probably could learn more from somebody at single A than Willie Mays or
Yep.
somebody like that.
I got you. I got you. Do you know who is number one over Tony Robbins?
I want to say, boy, I can see the guy's face. Dave Ramsey, I think they said was number one
No way.
in this list. I could have that wrong. I'll
No way they put Dave Ramsey over Tony Robbins.
Well, maybe they were measuring the impact different because he helps people with finances or something. You know what? I've got that wrong. I'll bet you I've got that wrong.
That is blasphemous if they're putting Dave Ramsey over
Let me
Tony Robbins.
let me see. Bear with me for top keynote. Okay, I said keynote speakers. All right, so the Google was top keynote speakers,
Nice.
and it was top 10.
It could
No,
be.
okay, the first one. Oh, here it is. Um, hmm. Oh well, that's a speaker bureau. Okay, so whatever query I did when I just did top keynote speakers, Tony Robbins came up number one. So I
Nice.
was surprised at one of the lists that Dave Ramsey was way up there. I mean, no offense to Dave Ramsey, it's just he gives common sense advice, and in my mind, motivational speakers are like Tony Robbins or Zig Ziglar coming out and just they're on fire and they go for 1, 2. I think Tony goes for 10 or 15 hours, and the audience is still just
Yeah.
wired, and so I'm gonna make a list. I'm gonna put Tony Robbins on top.
There we go. There we go. Yeah, my thing with Dave is like he does great work for a lot of people, but I also feel like he's not really motivating them to do anything. I feel like he's almost discouraging them from doing a lot of things. Like he would discourage, not he doesn't discourage entrepreneurship, but he discourages some of the risk that comes with entrepreneurship. I
Very
feel
much so.
I feel like motivational speaking and entrepreneurship typically have been going hand in hand in the field. It's like improve yourself and then get greater control of your finances. And so I guess I could see Dave in that realm, but like the way it just pains me. I guess
I will email you that original list when I find it.
there
It
we go.
just whoever was ahead of Tony surprised me a bit.
Mm.
And
I
then it
thought
got even more confusing because Mel Robbins was in the top five, and I don't know, don't think she's related to Tony. So like, I guess I just need to change my name to Robbins to break into the top 10.
yeah, yeah. I thought it was gonna be Eric Thomas who was above Tony, but
I don't. I, I'm flaking on it at this point. I'll get
totally
you the
fine.
list.
Totally fine. Totally fine. Well, cool, man. Let's go ahead and jump into our thriving three. What is your favorite
Okay.
book, movie, or podcast? Pick one of those three.
Favorite book is Getting Things Done by David Allen.
Mm,
It
why?
it's the subtitle is the art of stress-free productivity. I read this years ago. Actually, here's how long ago it was. I went to the library and got it on CD and played it in my car. I didn't have this was pre downloading it on Audible,
Wait, what's
and
a
I got
CD?
it. Hmm?
What's a CD? Oh,
Like,
I'm just playing.
wait a minute, come on now. My
Okay.
kids can't even ask that one. My little kids can't. Okay, anyway. Uh, so what he does is he came up with this way of prioritizing, given where I am physically right now and how much energy I have and how much time I have and a couple of other things, what should I be doing? And his example is when do you realize you need double A batteries? It's not when you're at the store looking at the double A batteries. It's when you're at home and your double A batteries are dead and you don't have any more, right? He says your brain is great for coming up with ideas and things like that, but it's a terrible, hey, you need this when you're here. So his system is what can I do in this moment? So I've got 15 minutes and a phone. Who should I be calling? I've got this amount of time. And then it's also balanced to get what against what is on your calendar and cannot move. All right. So this absolutely has to be done today at 10 a.m. Period. And you put those in your calendar, and then what happens is my calendar is absolutely full of appointments I have to take. Then you have no stress because you're like, I don't need to worry about my to-do list. My day is full. The to-do list will move to another day. And he doesn't put a lot of dates on it as much as what can you do, where you're at. And there's also for a project, what is the very next action you can take? And this might be the biggest thing for me. You've got this great big project you're stressing out about, and you sit down for 2 minutes and you think, what is the very next action I can take to move the ball forward?
Yep.
And then you do that. And just thinking about it lowers your stress. And what it does ultimately is you have everything in a list somewhere so your brain doesn't have to wake you up in the middle of the night or something and say, don't forget to do this. And you wind up stressing out, right? Because it's in a trusted system. I have read the book, probably 20 or more times. I read it about once a year, at least.
Mm.
Listen to it or read it. And he's got this whole great big methodology, but I mean, even if you adopt 10% of it, you're way better off.
Yeah. There we go. I love it. And what's one way you like to take care of yourself?
I came up with two. I record what I eat every day
Okay.
because it's in an app, so I know how many calories I've got left, and that way, if I don't have enough calories for a bowl of ice cream at the end of the day, I don't eat the bowl of ice cream. And the other thing is walking. I used to love to run, and when I was younger, and I had a hip replacement last year, so they say I could go back to running, but they said your hip replacement won't last as long. So I'm like, okay, I'll walk. And my wife and I take walks almost every day, and it's just a nice way to get out, we walk a couple miles, get some exercise, spend some quality time together.
I got you. How long do y'all walk for? 30 minutes? 45 minutes?
It's 2 miles, so it's probably 40.
Gotcha. Yep. Sounds good. And what is one action step you can take right now or continue to take if you're already doing it to meet that someone between you and Tony Robbins that can help you grow in speaking?
Delegate more stuff that I shouldn't be doing.
Yep.
Period. Get rid of it. I mean, I have a bucket list and a chuck it list. The chuck it list is things I'm chucking. I got if you could see over on my whiteboard, there's this volcano I've drawn in the corner. And it's got little stick figures that are getting thrown into the volcano, and each one of them is labeled with something I will no longer do.
Mm.
And so you chuck them into the volcano, get rid of them, boom, they're gone. And there's that, but there's also the whole I'm going to throw it to somebody else. So I need to put more stick figures and people catching my stick figures or something like that. I'm not very artistic, but I could try. But that's it, right? It's that focused delegation. Number one thing. That's the mantra right now.
There we go. And I usually preface this section. Sorry. It can get a bit personal. If you don't want to answer any of these questions, just say pass and we can.
Dude, my life's an open book. Let's go.
Sounds good. What is one limiting belief that continues to pop up in your life, if any?
I could lose it all.
Mm.
And I know your next question, but it could all go away. I could lose my job. I could be poor, blah, 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 blah.
And where does it come from?
My family. My dad did not have a college degree. I love my dad. He worked very hard. He worked in a factory, and he worked at Whirlpool, and they made washing machines. And he had a lot of friends that worked at the time, Ford Motor, and there was an Oldsmobile plant, I believe, as well. And this was when they started announcing layoffs, and they're laying off people as the economy got worse. And at one point it hit him that he had taken the job at Whirlpool 2 days before Ford called and offered him a job. And had he taken the Ford job, he would have been laid off right then. And he was concerned, and that kind of spread through the whole family. It's like, holy cow, we could lose the money, lose the house, etc. And so that is still inside of me, even though logically I know it's not a problem.
Yeah.
It's that what's built inside of you when you're a kid, basically.
Yeah. Do you have any limiting actions that reinforce this limiting belief?
Sure. I'm still doing my 9-to-5 job.
Ooh.
I am still doing the IT job. I have talked with my boss and talked about, I see this as being the retirement date. But even at that, I was like, unless we want to talk and then I could change it. No, I should have just said, you know what, this is when I retire. People do it all the time, I hear. This is when I'm going to retire and pursue the full-time goal. But it is that fact. I am at a position where I don't need that full-time job, but I am keeping that full-time job.
I gotcha. Ooh, you're lucky.
That was a great question, by the way. You made me think.
Hey, I appreciate that. If we had more than 2 minutes, we would dive a lot deeper into that right there. But we only have 2 minutes. So.
Yeah, there's always next time.
Yep, always next time. We'll just wrap it up with what is your favorite belief about yourself?
That I am hilarious and I connect with the audience.
There we go.
I love to make people laugh because I know if they're laughing, they're listening, and I can help them.
Yeah. I love it. Well, Phil, that's all we got for you, man. Thanks for coming on the show.
I appreciate you having me. It's a lot of fun.
Of course. Is there anything else you want to chat about before we sign off?
You talked about how do you help people. I saw a question. How do you help people change their life? And I'm going to show you this real quick.
Go for it.
You got to fear the right thing. So instead of fearing about losing your job, I call it the red rooster of regret. This is the most giant rubber chicken I could find. And I use him in all my speeches. He's been overseas and he's nasty. He makes really loud, nasty noises. But the thing of it is, and this is what I keep telling myself, fear regret. Fear leaving this planet and not having tried to achieve all your goals and the big goals and help the number of people. So if you're going to be afraid of something, and we're all afraid of something, be afraid of the regret of never having tried.
Great note to end on. Phil, thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks. I appreciate it.
Of course. And if you guys are listening to this and you loved what Phil had to say, make sure to hit him up, buy his book, send a copy to a friend, make sure to rate it on Amazon and all of that good stuff. Thank you guys for watching. all the ways to contact Phil and find his book will be down in the show notes. We will see you guys on the next one. And on that note, we're out.